What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to go through my experience of getting a gun custom stippled. Now I've had 3 of my guns custom stippled. I had them all done by the same company and they did a phenomenal job. If you guys haven't seen those videos, I'll link them down below. And in those videos, I just did kind of an overview, showed the gun, showed what I had done. I kind of want to go through all the options and things like that. It's kind of an a la carte type of thing, at least in my experience. It's not just one basic package and you get what you get. So let's jump into it. Guys, make sure you're subscribed because I am going to be doing some videos on Black Friday deals starting that week of Thanksgiving. I'm going to be putting out some videos with deals that I find because I know that's one of the biggest times of the year for me when I'm buying stuff is that Black Friday week when things go on sale. So make sure you're subscribed. So if you're thinking about getting a gun stippled, there are tons of options. There's tons of companies that do it. The company I went with for the 3 guns that I had stippled was Rocket City Stippling. He's based in Alabama. And he does phenomenal work. It's all hand stippling, none of the laser stuff or anything like that. He does it all himself by hand. I first saw him on Instagram, saw some of his guns and stuff like that, started following him, and I wanted to get a gun done. So I'm gonna walk you through the process, how he works it. Now, I know there's a lot of other stippling companies that work it similarly, and some don't. Some are really quick and it's like you just check out online, send them the gun, they laser it for you, send it right back. He does insanely intricate, precise, custom work, and that's what I like about him. So if you've never looked into it, I'm gonna go through his process. Now, full disclosure, I paid full price to get all 3 of my guns stippled. This is my Glock 17, this is my Glock 45, and this is my 43X. I paid for everything on all these. Nothing was given to me or discounts or anything like that. With him, if you're wanting to get a gun stippled, he has scheduling books and he only opens them at certain times. If you're wanting to get something done through him, you need to follow him on social media or check his website regularly because that's how he lets you know when his books are going to open. When his books open, he only takes a certain allotment of basic packages and a certain allotment of the custom packages that you can kind of tailor however you want. For me personally, the first gun I did was my Glock 45. This is the first gun I've sent off and had done, and it took me probably 8 or 9 months to get on his books. He was only opening them like every 3 months, and as soon as they would open, they would fill up within a half an hour and I'd have to wait for the next round. So I finally ended up getting on his books. Once you're on the books, he just works from the top of the list to the bottom of the list. And when he's ready for you to send your gun in, he sends you an email saying, hey, we're ready. Let's get on the phone and talk about what it is that you want done to your gun. And you go through all the options, go through the build page on his website, check out and pay for what you want. When you initially get on the books, you have to pay a deposit. That's what keeps your place in line. That was an awesome feeling when I got that call saying, hey, you're up next, send us your gun. So I gave him a call, we had a conversation, went through all the options and stuff that I wanted done on this. Some of them I didn't know what they were. I had to have him explain it to me. Some of them I did. Cost can be a concern too, because every option you choose, that adds a little bit to the price of the job that he's doing for you. So let's go over some of those options that you can choose. Like I mentioned, this one was a bone stock Glock 45, hadn't had anything done to it other than the stuff that I'd done to it, which was the red dot, the sights, the trigger, and the mag well. He has a bunch of different textures you can choose. This one is an at-nip texture. This one is called his rice texture. And I don't remember what the name of this texture is, but I chose a different texture on all of my guns. I chose the texture, and then you can choose if you want it outlined with a border like this. And he does different outlines. It could be a very thin outline or a nice deep outline. You can choose how high you want it to go up underneath the tang right here. On this one, I believe I chose the low tang. This one, I had him stipple all the way up, which is the high tang. And this one, I believe I did the low tang also. On these Glocks, you can also choose to keep it so you can use the factory back straps if you want, and you can send him a back strap to stipple. On this one, I chose to get rid of those back strap lines, so they're all gone, and he stippled that whole area. On this one, I kept the back strap lines. I kind of like the way that looked with this lighter paint scheme on it. So I kept the back strap lines on that. You can also choose if you want a scallop magazine release. I think that varies depending on what generation of gun you have. For that, he kind of scallops out right around this magazine release, so you can get your finger in there a little better. You can also choose if you want a border around the mag well or not. You can see how that one looks. You can also see how that one looks. So a few other options you can do are the indexing points right up here, like thumb ledges or gas pedals or whatever you want to call it. He calls this a tilted ledge. So on my guns, I had him do the tilted ledges and he stippled them. It also has the same border. You can choose to get stippling underneath the trigger guard. You can also choose what undercuts you want. If you want a double undercut like this or just a single undercut, or however you want it done. He has multiple different options. Another option is to kind of taper the corners on the front of that trigger guard, make it look a little better, which I opted to do. And then he also does beveling. Right in here, he beveled this all out. He calls it a glove bevel. Beveled it out so it's easier to get your hand in there, and smoothed everything out all inside that trigger guard, which turned out awesome. I wish I would have done that on my other one. This one I did not have that done on, so it's just the factory frame right there. But that beveling is really nice and really slick. It makes it really nice getting your hand in there. So this back part right here, he can also taper it in a little bit if you'd like that, which is kind of cool. You know, if you have smaller hands or something and want that a little thinner to get your grip around it a little better, he does that. He also does like custom framework. So if you wanted to take your Glock 17 and chop the frame and make that grip a 19 length, he does stuff like that too. And I know a lot of other companies that do that also. When I had this gun done and this gun done, he had just bought his own laser machine and was doing custom lasering, so he could get rid of the Glock logo if he wanted and do his logo or whatever. I had him do my channel logo on these ones. So he lasered those in there for me, which was pretty cool. I just sent him the file, let him do his thing. This one's a little bit bigger, but I think those turned out awesome. I really like that he does custom touches like that if you request it. Like I mentioned, he does work with other companies. I think now he does some of the stuff in-house, but I had him send my slides off to have them cut as well. This was a factory Glock MOS slide that I had him send out and get cut. They cut some windows in it, did some more serrations. That thing turned out pretty good. This one, same thing. This is a factory Glock MOS slide that they cut and customize. And same with my 43X. This was also just a factory MOS slide that I had them cut some windows in, and that turned out pretty sweet. I think these guns all turned out really nice. So once you get all that stuff out of the way, you can also opt to have everything custom cerakoted, which is what I did. Obviously I had them custom cerakote all three of these guns. It's also an option to have your accessories painted. I had the mag wells cerakoted to match. Same with this one, cerakoted to match. I also had them cerakote the weapon light on this one and on my 43X to match. Now that's kind of tricky sometimes. I know certain cerakoters will do it, certain won't. Some will also do red dots and some won't. It all just depends on where the work's getting done. Now all three of these were cerakoted by FDesWorks. He's pretty close in proximity to Rocket City Stippling, so that's who he works with. I'm 100% pleased with both of their work. It's also an option to have him stipple it, send it back to you, and not cerakote anything. If you're not getting any slide work done or anything like that, that may be an option for you. If you just want it for the grip texture, that's cool that he does those basic packages and he can just stipple it, send it right back to you. I wanted the more custom options on these ones. Now this whole process is not cheap. It is not cheap to have a gun custom stippled and cerakoted like this with the slide cut and everything like that. And honestly, it costs more than the gun does itself brand new. And I know in the other videos that I've done on these guns, I think I've done one on each individual gun. I've got a lot of comments that that's a waste of money, that's not worth it, that's whatever. There are all those haters out there that if you want to get something done to your gun, get it done. If you like it, get it done. There's no shame in that. These are my guns. I wanted it done and I wanted to spend the money on it. I think they turned out awesome. I love them. If I had to go back and redo it, I would do the exact same thing over again. I may pick a few more options and spend a little more money, but I would do the exact same thing over again. I have no qualms or no issues with any of these guns, and I was a little worried about that. Spending that kind of money, sending your gun off to get it done, you know, I was a little worried that it would come back and I would nitpick it and find little stuff that was screwed up or that he didn't do how I thought it was going to be done, which I didn't have that at all. I'm beyond impressed by the work that he does and kind of the person that he is. I've talked to him quite a few times now, and he's a really cool dude, down to earth. But that's the experience that I've had, picking out all these options and getting a gun custom stippled. I'm sure other companies are a little bit different in their process or their wait times or things like that. So make sure you're asking the right questions if you guys go to get something like this done. Make sure you're on the same page with what you want done and you know the exact details so you don't get a surprise when it comes back to you and it doesn't have certain things done that you thought were going to get done. For me, I wrote down a whole list of questions that I had that I wanted to make sure I got answered. And throughout the process, he was cool with me, sending me pictures here and there of the process as he was going along. I still use these guns like crazy. If you've seen my other videos, I carry this thing at my property all the time. That's been my carry gun up there. I carry this thing all over, sits in a holster all the time. I concealed carry this one. I know, I've seen the comments in the other video. If you actually have to use that and that gets taken into evidence, you're screwed. No, it's still just a gun. What does it matter if it has a red stripe on it and white camo, or if it's all black? It doesn't matter. Yeah, there's a little bit more money sitting in evidence until I get it back, but I carry these things all the time. I use them all the time, shoot them all the time, and they've held up well. So that's that, guys. That's a little bit of insight. I've got quite a few questions on the other videos I did on the process and how things work and stuff like that. So I just wanted to make a video and give you guys the information that I have through my experience. And if you guys can use that, great. If not, that's also great. In the description, I'll link the other videos to these guns, and I'll also put a link in the description that takes you to my website, where I'll have all the parts and pieces that I've used on these builds. So if you guys want to go over there and check some of that stuff out, cool. I don't sell anything over there. It's information only, but it's there if you guys want to check that out. But thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and we'll check you guys on the next one.